this fundraising video that you're about to see, I was going to release it in March of 2020, and we all know what happened. It's for my solo show about mental health, The Road Back. And I had to postpone it, but I'm excited to tell you that I'm going to be producing it in the spring of 2022. It's great that Broadway's come back and there's off-Broadway, off-Broadway, all kinds of smaller spaces where theater artists are producing new work. And we need to make sure all those seats are filled. So please join me in bringing theater back to intimate spaces. I'm really excited to be making theater again and going to see it. And, I've pushed ahead and I found a way to bring my show back to the theater because mental health is more important than ever. Even everyone's talking about it. And even if it didn't affect you directly before the pandemic, you have an awareness of it now. And from all the conversations I've been having and what I'm hearing in the news, we are more ready than ever to have a real dialogue about mental health. So I hope you'll consider making a donation to help bring this play back to the theater. Thank you. This is hard for me to do. This is a risk for me to share with the world. I have written a very personal solo show called The Road Back about my journey into and out of a severe clinical depression that I experienced 10 years ago. In the fall of 2009, I was married with 2 young children, living in New York City, attempting to pursue an acting career and juggle motherhood. I began to experience a lot of anxiety, and I fell into a deep and paralyzing depression. At a certain point, I began seeking treatment. It was a 9-month journey with many obstacles along the way, which took a toll on my marriage and my ability to mother my daughters. With the support of my loving husband, a couple of good therapists, and the help of MDSG, mood disorder support groups, I was able to recover and have a more compassionate understanding of myself, lead a productive life, and become a peer counselor. As an actor and an experienced solo performer, I decided to write a solo show about my story because I knew that it would be healing for me and I hoped it would be inspiring for audiences. I produced a workshop production of the play in the spring of 2019. For the purposes of this fundraising video, I reached out to several women from MDSG who saw the workshop production and asked them to share their thoughts about the play.
Well, I would say that everyone should see this play. I think it is an eye-opening look into one individual's story of struggle with mental illness. In general, it's a great builder of awareness and sort of a way of currying empathy for those who are having this difficulty, and maybe it opens the way to better support, better treatment, more understanding, destigmatization.
Well, I think that this play brought depression into a new light. Everybody I've spoken to who saw the play felt almost like their lives were changed.
I think everyone should see this play, not just people with mental health disorders, because everyone suffers and is in pain at some point in their life. And to be able to go public with it and normalize pain and suffering is a very powerful tool.
One goal I have for the play is to make sure I directly reach out to the mental health community in New York City. People in recovery, families of people who are struggling, people who have struggled in the past. This is the kind of theater I love to create. Theater that can lead to real change.
I didn't really understand that much about it. So much of our society and our culture talks about just sort of gunning through things and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And that's sort of what I feel like a lot of people think about depression is like, oh, you're just, tired or, put on a happy face.
We live in a time when people have begun to share their stories about experiencing depression on social media outlets like Facebook and Instagram. This is reducing stigma in our culture. Because of this, I feel empowered to tell my story on stage to an audience, which is a uniquely intimate and powerful group experience. You're not sitting alone at your computer reading about someone's struggle. Instead, you're in a shared space, engaging with this play with a group of people in real time.
I really enjoyed watching the audience watch Adina because I saw that they were really taking it in and without judgment.
It's very provocative. It garners empathy. It cultivates conversation. And it's conversation on a very important topic that we cannot afford as a community, as a society, to ignore.
My goal is to raise $20,000 via private donations out of a $30,000 budget. All donations are 100% tax deductible. I couldn't reach these audiences and share this message of hope without you.
It takes a lot of courage to get up on stage and tell your story, and especially a story that is stigmatizing for so many other people who don't understand mental health disorders. So for Adina to give us that gift of telling her story and being brutally honest about everything she has gone through means that the rest of us, hopefully, will be willing to open up and get support and tell our stories too.
It creates this sense of normalizing depression, and I think that it's joyful and it's hopeful and it's funny, and I think that that's what we need.
Most people do get better. I got better. There isn't a cure for depression, but you can learn how to manage it. There is hope.